Hey guys, good to have you here. Today I'm going to show you the results of a study on Dow Jones Industrial Average, and particularly I'm interested in how often we can get moves in 1 hour time frame that are bullish. So we're focusing on those bullish ranges instead of all the data. So I'm filtering down the data to bullish moves and then further down to more than the average or above average bullish moves. So this gives us interesting data on what days of week we have the best possibility for big moves in Dow, and then also we're going to go drill down to the hourly level and see what timestamps are most likely to provide us with great momentum moves in Dow. First of all, please do remember that we don't provide any investment advice, and all the material is made available for educational and marketing purposes only. And please remember to subscribe to the channel. That would be a great help. Thank you. Okay, my research questions for this study were: what's the size of an average bullish 1 hour period? And what's the size of an above average bullish 1 hour period? Then what time of day is the best to trade Dow Jones long? And lastly, on which day of the week greater than average bullish moves take place? The study period is from January 2020 to June 2023. The number of observations is 20,568. The data source is TradingView, and most of the analysis was done in RStudio, but I did use Excel also. Let's look at the terminology a little bit before we go further. So what does a word kurtosis mean? If you are new to statistics, you learn here how certain things help you to see what's in the data. When we're looking at huge numbers of data, like 20,000 plus lines, we need to aggregate the data and then look at the data in what's known as descriptive statistics, and kurtosis is there. It's one of those terms. So briefly, it means that if there is a high kurtosis number, then the shape of a probability distribution is different to the normal distribution. So a high kurtosis specifically indicates the extent to which the distribution has heavy tails or exhibits extreme values compared to normal distribution. So that means that basically there are some big values that sort of distort the data, distort the averages, etc. So if you see a high kurtosis number, that's what it means. And then another number that helps us to understand the data in this respect is called skewness. A high skewness value indicates that the data set is highly skewed to the right, positively skewed. This means that the tail of the distribution extends towards the right side, with the majority of data points being concentrated towards the left side. So there are lots of small values or smaller values or medium-sized values towards the left side, and then some bigger values in the tail. So here we are looking at descriptive statistics for all the data, and we are talking about 1 hour Dow Jones ranges. We have 20,568 observations, so all the data is here. And what jumps out here is that the mean is 99 index points and the kurtosis is 25.66, with skewness as high as 3.63. So immediately we can see that this data is highly skewed. So there'll be lots of small values on the left of the distribution and some bigger values to the right. And now we are interested in those bigger values because obviously we want to catch the big moves. And this video is about finding the times when the market might move big. So let's plow on, and we can learn so much about this data just looking at the descriptive statistics. Now in this slide I have the average 1 hour bullish Dow Jones ranges. So you can already see that the number of observations is much smaller, 10,569, which is about 51% of all the data that we had in this study. And it basically tells you that the markets are quite efficient. They are, bearish and bullish periods are sort of evenly distributed throughout the data. Then the mean here is slightly smaller than in all the data. But again, we have a high kurtosis and fairly high skewness as well. So yes, it means that there are those big values that we can find if we sort of keep on filtering the data further. Now, here we have the descriptive statistics for above average 1 hour bullish ranges. And already you can see that, okay, we only have 34% of the data here, but the average the average move is as high as 185 index points. Again, this is dragged higher by kurtosis and skewness. Sorry, the kurtosis and skewness numbers show that this is dragged higher by some outlier values. So we shouldn't expect all the values being as high as 185, but the mode is 100, so this looks good. And although the number of observations is much smaller here, 34% is still pretty good, I think. We can, looking at the markets on day-to-day basis, I think it's pretty good if we can expect sort of over 30% of the time to see a move that is greater than average. So it sort of gives us a reason to look for good trading opportunities in Dow for momentum strategies. In this chart, we have the biggest bullish Dow Jones ranges in UTC plus 3. You can see the timestamps on the x-axis here, and then on the y-axis we have the index points, the ranges in index points. And to give you a reference point, here is the New York Open. The New York cash equity session starts to trade at 16:30 my time, UTC plus 3. And if you're looking at this chart and wondering what it means, it's basically we have aggregated all the hourly ranges, all the sort of above average bullish ranges per timestamp, so that we have I have used R Studio to basically aggregate the data for each timestamp so that you can see what kind of ranges on average take place at these timestamps. And now remember, we have filtered out all the sort of less than average moves or ranges. So we're focusing only on the ranges that are bigger than the average. And looking at this chart, you can see how during the Asian session, the volatility is much lower. So if you are focusing on momentum strategies and try to get big moves, try to sort of trade long and hopefully get the market moves that are bigger than average, then obviously you need to focus on this period here. It starts at about 2 p.m. my time, so sort of 2.5 hours before the New York starts to trade. And I think the reasonable explanation for this volatility increase before the New York Open is that there is what's known as pre-market session. So equities can be traded in outside of the normal trading hours, and that seems to be impacting how the Dow trades, because there's quite a jump from this volatility to later on, or to this pre-market trading period. And then quite interestingly, around 7 p.m. we have another spike in volatility. I don't know the reason for that. If you can find out and maybe leave a comment in the comment section, that would be great. And then the volatility starts to die down for the American or the New York afternoon. And here we have aggregated the data per weekday. So we have the days from Monday to Friday, and then on y-axis here we have number of above average ranges per day. So if you're looking for the day when you have the biggest probability for outsized moves in Dow, then that's going to be Thursday. Tuesday comes next, and then sort of Wednesday and Friday are roughly equal, and Monday is the least volatile day. Hopefully this gives you a good idea on when to be especially alert and when to follow the market and be ready to trade long using your momentum strategies. And then you can also, obviously, once you do this, or once you know this, then you obviously can go and look at this chart and figure out what times of day you should be at your PC to trade the market. This is obviously sort of average picture of what's happening in the market. It's not going to repeat. It's basically, you have thousands of observations here, and data is aggregated here. So it is a picture of what's likely to happen on average. It was really nice to have you here again, and if you like this kind of content, leave us a comment in the comment section below. And also, if you have ideas for new videos, please let us know. We might just create a video because you asked for it. So it's always worth a try. And share this with your friends. Your support really helps. It motivates us to keep on doing these videos and helping you guys in your trading. Take care, trade safe.